When Terra collapsed in early May, crypto prices took a dive, and the resulting crypto bear market has left many holders wondering which coins and tokens will be the most resilient. Well, a recent report by DappRadar suggests that cryptocurrencies in the GameFi and metaverse niches could see significantly less losses and possibly even some gains during the bear market. That's why today I'm going to give you a bit of background about the report, summarize what it says in simple terms, and tell you which other crypto niches could be best for bear market survival. Before we talk about crypto games, there's something I need to explain. Financial advice is not something this video contains. It's just entertainment and education that's meant to grow your brain. So please contact a financial advisor if your portfolio is causing you pain. Now, if this is your first time stopping by, my name is Guy, and making crypto content is how I get my high. The Coin Bureau has the kind of quality crypto content that will make you fly. Coins, tokens, news, and reviews that dig down into the who, what, when, where, and why. So, if you want some of my supply, subscribe to the channel and then ping the notification bell that meets your eye. Okay, that's all you need to know about this guy. Now let's see which cryptos could thrive even as the market takes a dive. The report I'll be summarizing today was written by DappRadar. For those unfamiliar, DappRadar is a website where you can find all sorts of information about decentralized applications, or dApps. I regularly use DappRadar as part of my research, specifically to see how many users different dApps have. Logically, the more users a dApp has, then the more demand there will be for its coin or token. On that note, you can find out how to do research during a bear market using the link in the description. Now, as you can see, DappRadar supports just about every crypto ecosystem, and the list of supported cryptocurrencies continues to expand. The platform also tracks NFT and DeFi activity. So it should come as no surprise then that DappRadar has published dozens of detailed crypto reports over the years, and the one I'll be covering today actually made the crypto headlines the other week. The report is titled, quote, "How Blockchain Users Reacted to the Crypto Contagion and the Latest Macro Events." It was published on the 29th of July, and I'll leave a link to the full report in the description. I'll also quickly note that not all of DappRadar's reports are free. Accessing some of them requires purchasing DappRadar's Pro subscription, which can easily be done using the platform's token. I'll leave a link to how to do that in the description too, if you're interested. Now, the report begins with a brief introduction, where the authors go over some of the crypto dominoes that fell after Terra's collapse. This includes stuff like the insolvency of crypto hedge fund 3 Arrows Capital, the bankruptcy of crypto platforms like Celsius, and the absolute carnage in the DeFi niche, which was hit the hardest. The authors note that the falling of these crypto dominoes spilled over into traditional markets, which is news to me. They also don't seem to provide any evidence for this claim. It's also news to me that another unaccountable and undemocratic international organization called the Financial Stability Board, or FSB, ironically the same acronym as Russia's Secret Service, will be presenting its regulatory proposals for cryptocurrency in October this year. This happens to coincide with when the crypto recovery rally could end and when the real bear market lows could begin. More about that in the description, I digress. The last thing the authors mention in the introduction is the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC's, scrutiny of the crypto industry, which has increased significantly over the last few weeks, and the resulting fear in the crypto market that all these fallen dominoes has caused. The first part of the report dives deeper into the aftermath of Terra's collapse, and the authors begin by predicting that, quote, "This event will be remembered in the future and will continue to shape the markets for many months or even years to come." They then drop the first few statistics of the report, and these are that transactions related to DeFi protocols and NFTs fell by 14.81% and 12.2% in Q2, respectively. By contrast, transactions related to blockchain games increased by over 9.5% during the same period. Now, the former statistics are not that surprising, given that lots of the liquidity in the NFT market came from DeFi protocols, and you'll know this if you watched our Aave update from earlier this year. As for the latter statistic, I suspect the increase in blockchain game activity might be due to all the new GameFi projects that have been launching lately. Unfortunately, I can't say for sure because the authors don't explain where these statistics are coming from. The second part of the report pivots to the quote, polarizing attitudes towards NFTs around the world. And here, the authors reference research conducted by an American fintech company called CashNet, which analyzed the social sentiment of NFTs on Twitter. Funnily enough, the most NFT-friendly countries are Montenegro, Bosnia, and Luxembourg, with Poland, Nicaragua, and Belize as the least NFT-friendly countries. I can't say why, and I don't even know where to start with my speculation, so let me know in the comments section if you have any explanations for this. Another thing the analysts at CashNet examined was the actual interest in NFTs between countries, and they used Google searches to assess this. They found that the countries that are most interested in NFTs are Hong Kong, Singapore, and Canada, with Moldova, Serbia, and Russia being the least interested. Can't say I'm all that surprised given what's been going on in Eastern Europe lately. Speaking of which, you can find out what effects the war in Ukraine could have on crypto using the link in the description. Now, what I'm wondering is whether the researchers over at CashNet controlled for population size when making their analysis. After all, more populated countries are likely to see more search results for any given term, and something tells me these NFT trends would be similar for most crypto searches. Not only that, but Google isn't the most popular search engine in every country. Some countries, such as China, have banned Google entirely, and that means you're easily missing up to a third of the global population in your analysis. This is relevant to the next set of NFT statistics about the interest in specific NFT projects, which is again based on Google searches. Not surprisingly, the two most popular NFT projects are Decentraland and Axie Infinity, and this is the case in most countries. The only outliers are select European countries which prefer sports NFT platforms SoRare and Seychelles, where citizens apparently prefer Townstar NFT, a play-to-earn crypto project created by Gala Games. This ties into the third part of the report, which is about blockchain games. The authors begin by underscoring the popularity of Axie Infinity around the world, and this makes me wonder about how much overlap there is between the categories of GameFi and NFTs in this analysis. In any case, the authors point out that the total number of blockchain gamers didn't decline very much over the last quarter, and this is consistent with what Chainalysis found in its recent report, which we also summarized. That'll be in the description. Now, the authors go on to explain that the decline in active GameFi users hasn't been the same for all blockchains. Since May, the Binance Smart Chain and Axie Infinity's Ronin sidechain have seen a decline of 23% and 36% respectively. By contrast, the number of active GameFi users on the Wax blockchain and Solana increased significantly during the same period, with Wax seeing a 6% gain and Solana seeing a staggering 311% gain. Now this makes me wonder what the initial number of GameFi users on Solana was, since a large percentage gain is easier to achieve if you're dealing with, say, a few hundred or a few thousand users at the outset, just like it's easier to pump a crypto with a lower market cap regardless of its price tag. Well, Wax currently supports 2 of the 3 most popular blockchain games by user base, specifically Alien Worlds at nearly 600k monthly active users, and Splinterlands at nearly 400k monthly active users. Axie Infinity currently sits between the two at around 450k monthly active users. Scrolling down, we can see that the only Solana GameFi project in the top 25 is Gamito with over 100k monthly active users. This confirms that Solana likely started from the bottom, and now it's here. The fourth part of the report covers some of the upcoming crypto regulations that will likely be rolled out because of Terra's collapse. The authors start by highlighting the fact that over $40 billion in crypto wealth was wiped out by UST and Luna's death spiral, not to mention the hundreds of billions that were lost down the line. The authors then present this handy map, apparently made by Thomson Reuters, which shows where cryptocurrency is legal, mostly legal, and mostly illegal. The authors note that although regulations go against the ethos of cryptocurrency, some degree of regulation is warranted given all the hacks and rug pulls that continue to plague the crypto industry. The authors take their argument one step further by emphasizing that all these hacks and rug pulls make cryptocurrency unappealing and therefore make mainstream adoption more difficult. Fair point. The only thing I would add is that not all crypto regulations are reasonable. If you watched our most recent video about the Fat F's so-called recommendations, you'll know that money laundering laws have had next to no effect on illicit finance during the 30 years they've been around. There are also some regulators like the SEC that believe all stablecoins are securities, like, say, stocks in a company, even though that is clearly not the case. Now, this is all fairly well known, which is why I find it a bit odd that the authors claim, quote, "At this stage, it's too early to estimate the scope of regulations until concrete proposals are introduced in Europe and the US. If you've been keeping up with the channel, you'll know that there are a couple of crypto bills currently working their way through the pipes of the US political system, and the European Union also recently passed its Market in Crypto Assets Bill, with its laws set to go into force in the coming years. You can learn more about those using the link in the description. Anyways, the fifth part of the report deals with how DeFi has changed after Terra's collapse, and the first statistic in this section just about sums it up. Quote, "The average loss in TVL among all the blockchains has been minus 68%. TVL meaning total value locked in the DeFi protocols on these blockchains. The authors reiterate that the number of transactions associated with DeFi protocols has only declined by about 15%, which to me suggests that most of this TVL loss wasn't due to DeFi users withdrawing, but rather due to the massive drop in the value of the volatile coins and tokens used in most DeFi protocols. In the case of cryptocurrencies like Harmony, the massive drop in TVL was due to a hack, and the authors question Harmony's future following the hack of its cross-chain bridge, given that the project was already struggling to attract users in the face of so much competition. Let's hope that gets sorted. Now, the authors also point out that Ethereum's DeFi protocols only lost around 33% of their TVL over the last year, whereas the Binance Smart Chain lost 70% of its TVL and Polygon lost 67% of its TVL during the same period. I suspect this has again to do with the discrepancy in stable versus volatile collateral. For context, most of the stablecoins in circulation are on Ethereum, and one of the largest DeFi protocols on Ethereum deals exclusively in stablecoins, specifically Curve Finance. The authors go on to applaud the impressive annual TVL growth on up-and-coming smart contract cryptocurrencies like Solana and Avalanche, which are still up 322% and over 1,300% in terms of TVL over the last year, respectively. You can learn more about what both projects have been up to lately by watching our most recent updates about them, and those videos will be down in the description. Anywho, the sixth part of the report is an interesting one, and that's because it's about the demographics of crypto holders and users. The authors specify that they use the data from the DappRadar website to assess this, which probably skews the results quite a bit, but here's what they found. Americans are the most interested in cryptocurrency, with Indians coming in at a, quote, distant second. The Russians come in third, which is not surprising given that the country has reportedly been implementing some serious capital controls to protect the ruble since Putin invaded Ukraine. Regarding the American overrepresentation, this also makes sense given that the United States is home to the biggest capital markets, i.e. most of the world's money. India's interest in crypto is less obvious, but I have a feeling it has something to do with all the dApps on Polygon, which is an Indian crypto project, hence why there are probably many Indians checking DappRadar. More about Polygon in the description. When it comes to gender, the authors found that 80% of DappRadar's guests are male and 20% are female, a 2% increase in male dominance compared to the previous quarter. Now, I'll quickly note that this 80-20 ratio is actually incredibly common in many areas, not just crypto. For example, in most businesses, 80% of the income comes from 20% of that business's clientele. This 80-20 rule is also called the Pareto principle, and something to be on the lookout for when you're analyzing any kind of data. You'll be surprised how often you come across it, and its prevalence is why some believe it's a sort of natural law. The more you know. Now, the Pareto principle does not appear to be present when it comes to the types of devices that people are using to research cryptocurrencies, with slightly more than half using computers and the rest using mobile phones. Not entirely sure how that's relevant here, but hey, the more you know. Finally, the authors found that most crypto holders and users are aged 18 to 44, with around a third falling into the 25 to 34 category. The authors note that the number of boomers in the space declined during the last quarter too. The last part of the report consists of closing comments from the authors, who acknowledge that most of the impressive price action we've seen from most coins and tokens in 2020 and 2021 was a result of money printing by central banks, particularly the Federal Reserve. As such, it should come as no surprise that most cryptos have been on the decline since central banks started raising interest rates. If you've watched any of our many videos about the Fed, you'll know the practical effect of this is that all the money that was printed gets sucked back in as debts are repaid. Selling off assets to pay back said debts is ultimately why assets have been crashing across the board since November. But the authors argue that the Fed isn't the only one to point your finger at when it comes to the crypto crash. Poorly designed crypto projects and protocols, along with, quote, irresponsible practices by individual and institutional crypto investors alike, also contributed significantly to the crypto crash, and the authors claimed that, quote, the industry has to sober up and abandon irresponsible behavior going forward. Until the next crypto bull market comes around, the authors believe that metaverse projects and possibly even NFTs will fare well compared to most other cryptocurrencies, and cite the continued entrance of big players like Instagram into the niche as proof. So, this brings me to the big question, and that's why Metaverse, GameFi, and select NFT projects will handle the crypto bear market better than crypto projects in other categories. As I mentioned in the introduction to another GameFi report we summarized, there are fundamentally three reasons why someone invests in cryptocurrency. Speculation, aka they want to make money, necessity, aka they need to transfer money, and entertainment, aka just for fun. As I'm sure most of you have noticed, speculation in the crypto market has been shafted for the most part, the recent recovery rally notwithstanding. This effectively leaves necessity and entertainment as the two primary demand drivers for any coin or token. Now, as far as necessity goes, it's safe to assume that most folks who want to transfer money using cryptocurrency will stick to using stablecoins. This is potentially bullish for smart contract cryptocurrencies that support stablecoins, and you'll recall Ethereum is the king in this category. Now, obviously, not everyone can afford Ethereum's gas fees, which is why most will likely stick to using low-cost Layer 2s, especially since they don't experience outages like some of Ethereum's competitors. I mean, it's no coincidence that Vitalik has been pushing crypto payments lately. He knows what's up. Now, in terms of entertainment, it's clear that Metaverse, GameFi, and select NFT projects fall into this category. While there are obviously economics at play with any crypto projects that fall into these categories, I reckon speculation will be a secondary factor for the best ones. And when you combine an addictive blockchain game with a relatively small market cap, it means that its coin or token is likely to remain relatively stable or even grow regardless of how low the crypto market goes, because there will be a constant stream of demand coming from gamers. This is why it's a good idea to get familiar with a few of these blockchain games and see which ones you think have the potential to be fun enough to play, regardless of whether there are crypto profits to be made. And you can start your journey by checking out our video about the top play-to-earn games, and that will be down in the description for your viewing pleasure. And that's all for today's video about DappRadar's crypto report. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button to let me know. If you want to make sure you don't miss the next crypto report summary, subscribe to the channel and ping that notification bell. While you wait, you can check out Coin Bureau clips for emergency market updates and tune into the Coin Bureau podcast for deep crypto dives. You can also follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for memes and behind the scenes, and join my Telegram channel for daily crypto updates. If you want to know what cryptos I hold as part of my portfolio, you can find out by subscribing to my weekly newsletter. It's got a whole bunch of exclusive crypto tips that you can't afford to miss. If you want to support what we do, head on over to the Coin Bureau merch store and get some crypto-themed apparel that suits you. Links to all these resources and more can be found down in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. My name is Guy, and you have been watching the Coin Bureau.